Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
Central Florida braces for a freeze. The warnings for tonight pretty much fill up your screen. Much of the Orlando metro area could dip below 32 degrees tonight, and it'll be even colder near Ocala. Good evening. I'm Jim Payne.
I'm Sonica Donge in for Meredith McDonough. The temperatures started their nosedive at sunset. They will be continuing to drop overnight. WESH 2 News was in DeLand and Ocala tonight as people bundled up for the cold.
A live report from Ocala in just a moment. We start our team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Tony Benalfi tracking the chill.
And let me show you guys the brand new numbers now at 11 o'clock. Look at Palm Coast. Look at Ocala. We are now right at or just above the freezing mark. Palm Coast 33, Ocala 34. The Village is at 37. Even Orlando now falling back into the lower 40s. When you factor in the wind, feels like 24 in Ocala, 23 in Palm Coast. Already feels like freezing up towards Sanford, right around 36 in Orlando. Speaking of freezing, freeze warnings in effect up and down I-4. Hard freeze warnings in effect for our northwestern locales, Marion, Sumter, Inland, Flagler County. And with the wind, as we talked about, wind chill advisories do remain in effect. Hour by hour now, impact icons out there for 7, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock. That means that the combination of the wind and the cold and those dangerous wind chills will make it impact your life and how you have to get out and how you have to dress. Again, you'll see these icons when we think that the weather is going to be threatening, but not life-threatening. That's the key to tomorrow morning. All right, we take a look at those tomorrow morning temps. 25 Ocala, 32 Sanford, right around freezing or just above in Orlando. Compliments there of the concrete. We'll take a look at some of those neighborhood low temperatures for you straight ahead. Jim, over to you.
All right, see you in a bit, Tony. Thanks. The coldest air in Central Florida tonight is in Marion County, where the feels-like temperature is 24 degrees right now.
And that number will only drop as the morning approaches. WESH 2's Kelly Rippin joins us live from Ocala tonight, where she found families fed up with winter. Kelly, they're bracing for another overnight freeze.
Definitely, and it is already frigid here in Ocala. You can see it's clocking in at about 35, but with that wind chill, as Tony was talking about, it definitely feels much, much colder and is going to drop another 10 degrees. So we checked in with some of the Marion County residents. Are they preparing for this, or are they just planning on hunkering down and dealing with the cold for another couple of days?
Miserable.
It's terrible.
Are you ready for it to be over?
Yes, I'm ready for summer.
The consensus in Ocala, everyone is over the cold.
All this weather has kind of brought me a bit of a shock to me. I am a native Floridian, kind of grew up here, and I just am really surprised by the fact that everyone's still outside.
The heavy freeze warning means temperatures will drop into the 20s for at least 2 hours tonight. So even though they forgot their heavy jackets as they left the house, they are listening to the warnings about plants and pets.
I think the only thing I do different is probably bring all of my mother's plants in her house.
We're bringing our animals in, that's about it.
But not all animals can come into the house. Here in Marion County, there are dozens of farms and hundreds of animals that need the extra care in the cold.
This is King William.
King William is one of dozens of horses at Gypsy Vanner Farms.
When it dips down into the low 30s, we usually put a blanket on them.
Now, not all the horses need extra protection. Different breeds tolerate cold weather better than others. But for all outdoor animals, a little food does go a long way.
Even just a little feed will create a lot of warmth in an animal.
So again, keeping in mind that the temperature is going to drop about another 10 degrees here in Marion County, make sure that students are bundled up ahead of the bus stop tomorrow. And there is still time to get those plants covered and check in on all of those pets. We are live in Ocala. Kelly Rippin, WESH 2 News.
As the cold weather settles in, stay in the know. WESH 2 News is constantly updating our free app. You can find hour-by-hour forecasts, including those low temperatures and interactive radar. You can also customize alerts to let you know when there are watches and warnings. Just head to the App Store and type in WESH 2 News.
New tonight, firefighters faced off with fierce winds and flames as they battled a brush fire this evening. A cow pasture caught on fire in Ocala, and shifting winds caused some problems for firefighters. They eventually got the flames knocked out. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and they did keep the fire away from the cows. The cause is still under investigation. We are working to find out what caused a rush hour bomb scare on the Turnpike. Chopper 2 flew over Turkey Lake Plaza this afternoon when the bomb squad checked out some sort of suspicious device on the guardrail. The Turnpike was shut down for a bit, but it has reopened.
Knucklehead of the week. That's what the Volusia County Sheriff called the woman he says sent this 6-year-old to steal a package off of a Volusia County porch. 20-year-old Santana Lindsay faces a slew of charges after detectives ID'd her as the driver of the car in the video. Tonight, Sheriff Mike Chitwood said Lindsay confessed to sending the child, who is not her son. The package turned out to be worth about $30. Her charges include child neglect and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
People aren't born into criminality, they learn it. And there is a 20-year-old woman absolutely lost her senses and decides that, hey, I'm going to dispatch him to steal this Amazon package.
Sheriff Chitwood says his deputies are working to determine if this is the only package Lindsay had the child swipe.
New tonight, a UPS driver found a Sumter County toddler wandering alone outside. Deputies arrested Thomas T.J. Leonard and Ashley Rook on Monday. They faced child neglect charges. When deputies entered the house on Country Road 418, they reported meth and pot in plain sight. Deputies also say there were numerous hazards in the yard. Breaking news, we just got this sketch depicting one of the 2 people wanted for murder in Lake County. Tonight, police are hoping someone knows who this is. Both people on the run are considered armed and dangerous.
That murder happened this morning in Tavares. Police found the victim inside a house on Rosewood Lane west of State Road 19. WESH News' Matt Lupoli spoke with nervous, frightened neighbors.
It scares me.
A busted window shows the force 2 men used to get into a home and take a life. It happened in the light of the late morning, leaving the entire Rosewood condo neighborhood on edge.
What if that could have happened to our house? What if they would have got the wrong number? I mean, I'm terrified.
Police put out this composite sketch depicting one of the 2 men they want to find. Officers say the men killed Louis Miraz. About 11 o'clock, a woman called 911 screaming for help. Louis Miraz had been shot. Neighbors tell us the victim shares his home with his girlfriend and young child. No one else was hurt, but he couldn't be saved. He was pronounced dead as soon as rescuers arrived. Several other neighbors, too shaken and afraid to speak with us on camera, called the victim quiet and kind. Many of them are left mystified. What led to murder just steps from their homes? Tavares detectives spent hours behind crime tape and inside the home trying to find answers.
We have no idea right now. I know our detectives are investigating. What we do have witnesses saying that they saw a white Chevy Avalanche fleeing the scene. If anybody has any leads or clues that can help us, we greatly appreciate it.
Police do consider the men they're looking for armed and dangerous. They don't want anyone approaching them. They do want information to help find them. Reporting in Tavares, Matt Lupoli, WESH 2 News.
Tonight, Sanford police want to know who pulled the trigger in a shooting that killed a woman and gravely injured a man. The shooting happened on Orange Avenue this morning, just south of 25th Street. Elisha Gilmore is in the hospital tonight in extremely critical condition. Juhai Paramar died shortly after arriving at the hospital. Police say the 2 were in a relationship.
Winter Park police believe a suicide stopped a Sunrail train for hours. A person stepped out onto the tracks between New York and Pennsylvania Avenues this morning. Passengers had to wait 2 hours for buses. Police have not identified the person who died. Tomorrow, the widow of the Pulse nightclub shooter will be back in an Orlando federal courtroom. It'll mark day 2 of the 3 days scheduled for key evidence hearings. Tomorrow, the defense is expected to fight to include certain evidence, like Noor Salman's medical records, her text messages the morning of the Pulse massacre, and details about the secret sexual activities of her husband.
Tonight, President Donald Trump announced his winners for his Fake News Awards. He tweeted a link to GOP.com, which goes to a blog post with a list of the news outlets. The president then tweeted that there are still many great reporters who he respects. This comes just hours after Arizona Senator Jeff Flake denounced President Trump on the Senate floor. Flake called the president's attacks on the media both shameful and repulsive. Happening now, another standoff between Republicans and Democrats, and the lives of 800,000 dreamers are caught in the middle. We're 2 days away from a deadline for a government shutdown. Many Democrats are refusing to sign the spending bill needed unless Republicans approve a measure to protect the DACA program. Dreamers are the young people brought to the U.S. illegally as minors, now at risk for deportation if Congress doesn't address their immigration status.
The Dow soared to 322 points today and ended the trading day with a historical close. It closed at 26,000 points for the first time. The 1.2% gain is the Dow's biggest jump since November. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ also closed about 1% higher, hitting all-time highs. Flu activity is up all across the state of Florida as doctors are seeing more cases. The 23 CENTRA cares in Central Florida have seen a staggering number of patients diagnosed with the flu, from 600 to nearly 1,200 cases in just 1 week. Doctors say there's a big difference between a cold and this strain of flu.
A runny nose, cough, and a low-grade fever, you probably just have a cold. But if you spike a fever of 101, 102, or even higher, you wake up in the morning, you feel fine, you get that fever at night and body aches and misery, it's probably the flu.
Even though the flu shot is less effective this year, doctors say it's the only thing we have to prevent the transmission of flu. There are still 3 months of flu activity to come.
New on WESH 2, new cameras could help fight crime in the city of DeBary. The city voted to spend $70,000 tonight on a series of tag readers at intersections. Sheriff Mike Chitwood told council members that other nearby cities have the cameras, which can spot stolen cars and cars being driven by wanted criminals or missing people. Tonight, some Florida lawmakers are looking to change the popular UCF license plate.
We'll give you a look at the bold new tag they're proposing after the Knights' undefeated season.
For the very first time, the tipster who helped police catch an accused serial killer near Tampa is stepping forward.
An unprecedented move. North and South Korea are joining forces for the Winter Games. Why not everyone is convinced peace will last.
And before we head to break, want to make sure you stick around for some fun after our newscast. Tonight, Jimmy Fallon welcomes Today Show co-hosts Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb. That's on The Tonight Show right after this newscast at 11:35. Temperatures are heading toward freezing right now across Central Florida. So live look outside of chilly Orlando tonight, where it'll be at a staggering and cold stunning 33 degrees in the morning. There are also freeze warnings posted for much of our area. Chief Meteorologist Tony Badolfi joins us with more on this blast of Arctic air coming up. New tonight, the woman who led police to a suspected serial killer has finally stepped forward. Delonda Walker is the manager of the McDonald's where the suspect worked. Today, Tampa's mayor and police chief were finally able to thank her in person. She attended an event for families of the victims. They each shared how grateful they were to Walker, who reported the suspect after she found a gun in his bag. In return, she received part of the $110,000 reward.
I really do. It's very blessing. I really appreciate it.
Is it still overwhelming to think about how this all played out?
Yes, it is.
Howell Donaldson III is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Police say he killed 4 people at random over a stretch of 51 days. In an historic move, North and South Korea will show a united front at the Winter Olympic Games next month. The Korean countries agreed today to form one team to compete. The athletes will march together during the opening ceremony with a single blue flag of the Korean Peninsula. South Korea is hoping this promotes peace, but other countries are skeptical.
I believe that North Korea wants to buy some time to continue their nuclear and missile programs. They simply want to get something out of this dialogue.
That was a Japanese leader who spoke today during a summit aimed at tightening sanctions on North Korea. The International Olympic Committee will vote to approve the historic move on Saturday. A second day of emotional testimony from elite gymnasts who say a doctor sexually abused them. In November, former Team USA doctor Larry Nassar pleaded guilty to 7 counts of criminal sexual conduct. A total of about 150 women are accusing him of sexual abuse, including 4 Olympic gold medal winners. While the Olympians won't be taking the stand, 98 other gymnasts will.
That man sent his resident out of the room and then stuck his hand up my shirt and down my pants. He sexually assaulted me in spite of my protests.
Nassar could face as many as 60 years in prison.
At least 10 deaths across the South are now being connected to winter weather. Several governors have declared states of emergency. Hundreds of schools from Louisiana to the Carolinas will be closed again tomorrow. Officials are trying to keep families off of dangerously slick roads. This is video from Charlotte, North Carolina, where the snow also weighed down power lines today, knocking out electricity to thousands of homes. A winter storm warning is in effect for parts of New England right now. National Weather Service says up to 6 inches of snow has fallen since Tuesday night, and parts of New England will get a couple of more inches tomorrow. Plows and salt trucks are out in full force across Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine.
And when you look at what's going on up north, we shouldn't feel as bad as we are down here, but there are hard freezes and freeze warnings in effect in our area.
And you don't want to fool around with that. You got plants, you've got pets, you've got people. If you're out in that kind of cold weather for a long period of time, you got to dress in layers, even down here. Hey, let me take you back outside. Look at this cam up in Daytona Beach bouncing around, and the feels like temperature right now at freezing up in Daytona Beach. Air temperature at 39. Those freeze warnings and hard freeze warnings take over 90% of our viewing area. The exception, New Smyrna Beach down towards Titusville and Melbourne. You are not in that freeze area. Wind chill advisories, though, area-wide, as we're going to be in the teens and 20s. Current temperature in Ocala, 34. It is 33 in Palm Coast, down to 40 in Leesburg, 36 to Villages, and 40 in Sanford. And when you take a look at the little nooks and crannies, Reddick is at 33, Lynn is at 35. You head south to Apopka, 39. Over towards East Orlando, Bitlow, 45. Down towards the attractions, 42, 43. Already 36 in Pearson, 37 DeLand, upper 30s and low 40s from Daytona Beach down towards Maytown. Now, tomorrow morning, Reddick, you're falling to 25. Lynn, you're at 25 degrees. We head south towards Wildwood and Leesburg, 25, 28 degrees here. Astatoula over towards Leesburg, about 28 to 30, 32 St. Cloud, Point Siena, Davenport, 31, Keatonville, 32, and right here along the coast, 35 to about 39 degrees. We move farther inland along I-4 from Disney to Winter Park, close to freezing. Sanford, 31, 32, up towards Palm Coast and Daytona Beach, 30 to about 31 degrees. Longest freeze duration up here in Marion County, 8 to 11 hours south and east of there. From DeLand back towards Leesburg, Eustis, over towards the Villages, 5, 6 to 8 hours there. Along I-4, 1, maybe 2 hours, and a little bit longer potentially right there in rural Osceola County, depending upon the winds. But the wind chill, the other big story. Upper teens to around 20, 5 a.m. in the morning. Up in Ocala, 21 in Sanford, 24 in Melbourne. Out the door at 7 a.m., 20 to 25, pretty much area-wide. And even 9 o'clock, wind chills are still running in the 20s to the low 30s. It won't really be until about lunchtime that the wind chills actually get above freezing. By the afternoon, the actual air temperature is running 50 to 55. A normal high would be up about 71. So it's cold Thursday, no doubt about that. Friday, cool. We start to moderate those temperatures, and then as we head into the weekend, we're back to normal. Afternoon highs in the low 70s. Let's go and take a look now at your updated 7-day forecast. Thursday looking good after a cold start. 54 degrees for an afternoon high. We get into Friday, not bad. On into Saturday here, look at that temperature, up to about 72 degrees, and that is going to be some great news for folks there that are getting ready for the Monster Jam. Saturday, Sunday, on it to 72 degrees. We head into early next week there. Tuesday and Wednesday, clouds are on the increase. Rain chances are going up as we get you into Wednesday afternoon. Guys, over to you.
So we just have to make it till the weekend. Tony, thank you. United Launch Alliance is set to make its first launch of the year from Cape Canaveral. The 40-minute window for the launch of an Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station opens at 7:52 tomorrow night. The rocket will carry a geosurveillance satellite for the U.S. Air Force. We'll keep you posted on launch conditions throughout the day tomorrow, and you'll be able to watch the launch on WESH.com.
4 state lawmakers are jumping on the UCF bandwagon, which now sports a nifty new license plate. Take a look. If they can get enough votes, this will become the state's newest license plate, which honors the UCF football team as national champions. The plate proposal is working through the legislative committees, with the next vote set for Friday.
And following that scuffle last night, Magic's Aaron Aflalo may face more discipline in the coming days.
And the Gators hoops team playing well against SEC teams.
Yeah, what a win tonight, coupled with an Alabama win, means for the Gators. Plus, Camping World Stadium is preparing for the ultra-popular Monster Jam. What it takes to get the surface ready for those monster trucks is when we come back. Ready or not, Saxonville is headed to Foxborough with all their swag, bravado, freshness in tow. Sunday, the Jacksonville Jaguars will shoot their best shot against one of the most decorated franchises in NFL history. Conference confidence? Well, they don't have a problem with that. Brady Belichick? That's a different story. Despite the Florida got a little bit of help from Alabama tonight. The Tide beat number 17 Auburn, and with the Gators win over Arkansas 88-73, the Gators leapfrog Auburn to move into first place in conference standings. This weekend, a week prior to the Pro Bowl, the Monster Jam returns to Orlando. Today, preps for the event continue. The field surface layered with plastic, then plywood-like boards before truckfuls of dirt recycled for use each year are dumped and then molded into the truck playground. But just how much dirt is it?
A bunch. We're talking probably 450 loads. So 7,000 yards of dirt. I might be a little high on that, but not by much. Even if you're not a fan, come to one show, and even if you don't ever come back, you'll walk out of here with your jaw hanging on your chest. It's an incredible show.
That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
New on WESH 2, the 2,000-passenger Queen Victoria cruise ship arrived for a brief stop at Port Canaveral today. The passengers are enjoying a 74-night transatlantic journey from Australia to England. Queen Victoria has only made 4 stops in Central Florida since 2011. She'll be back at Port Canaveral in March during the return leg of the journey. What a ship. Also new tonight, children who are not able to enjoy the theme parks get the parks brought to them.
Patients at Nemours Children's Hospital got a chance to meet some larger-than-life superheroes. Legoland sent us this video of 2 Ninjago characters surprising kids earlier today. In addition to the special visit, the kids also got Lego sets.
Oh, that's good work right there, all the way around. All right, Tony.
I'm still thinking about that 74-day cruise.
Yeah, sounds nice.
It really takes a while to process that.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at that bust-out forecast. Yeah. 74 days. Wow. Cold morning, 33 degrees here. Nice afternoon coming in at about 54 degrees. All right, a lot of us are tired of the cold, me included. So let's warm it up there for you. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Getting very close to the 80-degree mark. Plenty of clouds around Tuesday and Wednesday with a couple of showers. Can't do the broadcast without putting Monster Jam in it. You go. 68, 69, right around 62. Dry. Great weather for this event.
You thinking what, $1,000 a day for that cruise? At least?
I don't know. It's got to be up there.
I'm thinking it's up there.
Is it worth it?
Oh, it's a beautiful ship.
It looked beautiful.
It did look beautiful. We don't know because we're here and they're there. Keep an eye on the forecast in the morning. It'll be cold when you wake up. Join Amy Sweezy and the Sunrise Crew starting at 4:30.
Thanks for joining us this evening. WESH News is always on at WESH.com.